Welcome to Conversation with Zaki Baruti, with your host, Zaki Baruti. And like always, I want to give a shout out to my biological family, what's going on, to the Universal African Peoples Organization family, what's happening, and to New Life Evangelistic Center family headed by Reverend Rice. Keep up the great work, and a shout out to our amazing cameraman. On that note, we don't have another great show because in studio with me is a activist, Janis Mensah, who was a former member of the St. Louis Jail Commission, as well as part of Justice for Janis Coalition. Welcome to Conversation with Zaki Baruti.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Whenever I begin my programs, I always like for my guests to share background information about themselves, their educational background, or wherever you want people to know about you. Would you kindly share?
Sure. So educational background, I received my bachelor's degree from Washington University here in St. Louis in women, gender, and sexuality studies. And later I got my master's degree in nonprofit management from Johns Hopkins. Related to my social justice work, I have been working for the past 5 years with a youth participatory defense hub, which helps youth who are facing criminal charges. I've been doing that for the last 5 years. And for the last 2 or 3 years, I have been working on adult jail reform and abolition, specifically working with the Jail Oversight Board that was started by the mayor. I was the first chair, and then I was vice chair, so I served there for about a year and a half.
Okay, then. And you say for the mayor, you mean the mayor of...
Yes, Mayor Tashara Jones.
Of the city of St. Louis. Mm-hmm. What got you motivated in terms of dealing with social justice issues?
Well, I would say particularly my focus on jail reform and jail abolition came out of my own experiences with law enforcement, negative experiences of profiling and things like that. Particularly when I was a student at WashU, I was harassed by some security guards who were loosely but associated with the private police force at WashU.
So you were actually harassed while you were going to school at WashU?
Yes, I was. And because the different security forces and police forces with the different institutions work together, they tried to bring student code violations against me, but once I had my lawyer send them a letter, they dropped everything and admitted that it was profiling and just, let it go.
So were you isolated case of profiling and harassment? I mean, and was the harassment based on racial, or what was the situation?
I would say it was definitely based on my race. From just how they were interacting with me, they were very hostile, especially, right off the bat at the beginning. They wouldn't believe that I was a student there, even though I said I was. I was happy to show them my, student ID, but they really didn't care. And at one point, they actually, one of the security guards threatened to shoot me. So wow. It was a really terrible event, but it has led me to the jail abolition and reform work that I do now.
Now, when you say jail abolition reform, what are you speaking of?
Sure. So jail reform in terms of reducing mass incarceration, improving conditions at jails in the short term. And then in the long term, I'm a jail and prison abolitionist, so I believe in imagining and pursuing a society without jails and prisons.
Okay, some people may be saying you're drinking a whole lot of Kool-Aid
yeah.
in terms of abolition of jails, but we'll get into that. Sure. But let me ask this then, the whole question of mass incarceration, define mass incarceration and that whole piece socially in terms of in this country.
Sure, so I would say mass incarceration is a tool of oppression that the United States has really mastered. I believe we're somewhere around 5% of the global population, but we detain 25% of the world.
Wait a minute, let me stop you. Like Malcolm said, when you say we, you mean the government.
Yes, okay. correct. So the U.S. government detains about 25% of the global prison population. So that's kind of what I'm talking about with mass incarceration. It's over arrest, it's long sentences, it's over criminalization, and it's happening particularly with Black and brown communities and Black men especially.
Right. You took me back to, we published a quarterly newspaper, and recall early in the early 90s, we had the United States jailhouse of the Black nation. And incarcerated, we had a breakdown of the rates of incarceration per race. And, Black people were, of course, disproportionately incarcerated at tremendous rates compared to white citizens.
Right.
And why is that then? I mean, so you do agree there statistically, and what is the basis for that disproportion? Some people may say that Black people are just born criminals. So what is your response?
Yes, well, I would say, obviously, Black people aren't more criminal than any other race. And I think why we are overrepresented in the prison population is due to policies and kind of public opinion as well. I think a lot of what's criminalized, especially in St. Louis, are poverty crimes, things that aren't, violent towards other people, but it's something like not paying a parking ticket, having expired tags, then you have a warrant out for your arrest and you go to jail. And that's kind of the people that we fill our jail with, are people that the government fills our jail with, are people that are often being charged with nonviolent crimes, and there are people that haven't been found guilty yet, they're just waiting for trial. But unfortunately in this city, you might be waiting an average of over 300 days in jail.
Okay, then, and as an extension of that, in Ferguson, all of what you're saying was brought out in terms of many people have been harassed by the Ferguson police, end up being incarcerated. But on that note, we have to take our first break.
Just drive downtown St. Louis, drive by City Hall, and you'll see, what do they do? For a year now, a fence is all the way around City Hall and neighboring parks to keep the homeless people out. You talk about a visible enlightenment as to NIMBY and how it exists. Just take a look at St. Louis City Hall. Not in my backyard is what they're saying, but they're not alone. So many other people are saying, not in my backyard when it comes to the hurting and the homeless. So where are they going to go? What are they going to do? We haven't seen a single new shelter open in the city of St. Louis for 15 years due to something called plat and petition. And it's not just the city of St. Louis, it's St. Louis County, Jefferson County, Franklin County, Madison County, St. Clair County in Illinois. What are they doing? They want to ship their homeless to St. Louis. That's wrong. We have to see each county taking care of their own homeless people. And that's why we may have to file a lawsuit in the near future against Jefferson County and St. Charles County and St. Louis County to take care of their own homeless according to Missouri state law and start shipping it everywhere else. Well, in the meantime, we need your help here at New Life Evangelistic Center. We receive no city, state, or federal dollars. Our teams are out every day among the poorest to the poor. They don't need our excuses. They need direct help. We are having to distribute hundreds and hundreds of sandwiches, hundreds and hundreds of bottles of water. We urgently need water. You can bring it to 806 North Jefferson in Springfield, or 2428 Woodson Road in Overland, Missouri. There are so many hurting people. Yes, in Springfield we get 150, 200 homeless people a day, and most of them sleep outside. So we have to distribute tents and sleeping bags and long underwear and gloves and socks and hats. Why don't you have a drive at your church and help us at this time? Further information, call us at 1-800-334-3276 or 314-421-3020. That's 314-421-3020. Go to the website at nlecstl.org, and your tax-deductible gifts are urgently needed now. It's New Life Evangelistic Center, P.O. Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri. That's 63166.
There are so many people who work in our community glorifying God with the gifts that they have, and we thank Zaki for doing that regularly with us. You can make a difference too by partnering alongside New Life Evangelistic Center. If you're tired of seeing all of the pain and the hurting around you in your community, and you're ready to get into the trenches and to work alongside a ministry that has been doing this work for so long, consider and pray helping New Life Evangelistic Center to be there when people are hurting. Zaki has done that for many years, and we're so thankful for that. You can be a part of the difference too. You can be a part of the team, God's team, of working to help heal the hurts of hurting people in our community. We would love to partner alongside you. Please contact us soon to get involved with the work of New Life Evangelistic Center.
Welcome back to Conversation with Zaki Baruti. In studio with me is Janis Mensah, who is a former member of the St. Louis Jail Commission, as well as part of the Justice for Janis Coalition. And we're talking about incarceration and that leads to people being incarcerated in jail. Now, I just made mention that you were a member of the St. Louis Jail Commission.
Yes, it's the Detention Facilities Oversight Board, so basically the jail oversight board.
Now, how was you, first of all, explain that commission and when did it come about and why did it come about?
Sure. So the Oversight Board is a collection of 9 civilians, not employed or related to the city government, and
You say 9 members?
9 members, yes.
Okay.
And 9 spots. They've had a hard time filling those spots for a variety of reasons, but 9 spots, people with different backgrounds.
And what year? I'm sorry to interrupt you. What year did that come into existence?
Did it start? That'd probably be 2 or 3 years ago.
2 or 3 years ago. And why did it come into existence?
So this was one of the Mayor Jones's projects. This came after people pointing out that the terrible, inhumane conditions at our last jail, called the Workhouse, but the medium security institution, those inhumane conditions happened as a result of many things, including a lack of public oversight and a lot of lack of transparency and things like that. So the mayor started this board, and I was the first chair of it and finished my term as chair, and then I was vice chair for 6 months, and that's when this really terrible situation happened.
Okay, and we'll get into that terrible situation, but I just wanted to be clear in terms of why this commission was formed. So, and you were sharing that when it was formed, it was to have a 9-member board then, and their job was to do what exactly again?
Yes, so what they had the power to do, according to the ordinance, is tour the jail, interview and investigate detainee complaints, review those complaints, and ultimately the goal was to make recommendations on improving the jail and its policies and procedures, and to make those recommendations to Mayor Jones herself and to the Director of Public Safety and the warden of the jail.
So did the commission do that? I mean, did they make recommendations and what have you?
No, we did our very best to fulfill our job responsibilities, but we had a lot of opposition from the city in terms of blocking us from having tours. The warden frequently blocked me from having tours and didn't follow through with the procedure for when you deny someone a tour. They wouldn't release the...
Wait a minute, let me be clear. Now, the mayor formed it?
Yes.
And you had problems being able to tour the jail as a member of the...
Yes, so...
Was there a reach back out to the mayor saying, hey, we're having problems?
Yes, we frequently opened the lines of communication with the mayor. We sent letters, emails, open letters to the media even, and we received essentially radio silence from her. The few times she would communicate about us, she would release statements to the media that were not supportive of a true partnership between the mayor's office and the oversight board. So
now my other question then, you being at the height, first of all, at the height of the commission, how many actual members were part of the commission?
We did have 9 at the very beginning. We had 9.
Okay, 9. Was that unanimous opinion of those 9 jail?
Approval?
I mean, yes.
Yes, so we had to be approved by the mayor and also the board of alders, and there was some contention around a few of our members. Some of the alders had reservations about having Reverend Gerald Gray on the board. We did receive a opinion from the city councilor that member Mike Milton and Barbara Baker shouldn't be on the board. So we even had tense relationships over people just being on the board itself.
Okay, and as follow-up, when you were denied as an individual board members, were other board members denied access also?
The other board members didn't make as many attempts to tour as I did. I believe that the other board members might have gone on one or two scheduled, actually one scheduled tour each. Some never toured at all, and I was the one who tried most to tour, so I think I attempted 7 different times, and I was denied 5 of those times.
Okay, then. Now, you have created, you're part of the Coalition for Janis.
Justice for Janis Coalition.
Forgive me. Mm-hmm. Why did that come about?
So that came about because by the request of the then warden, Jennifer Clemens Abdullah, who's now been fired, she called the police on me. They came and brutalized me at the jail, and the city continues to prosecute me to this day on charges of trespassing and resisting arrest. And that's why we formed the coalition, to gather support. We have about 20 community organizations in support of me and trying to get people out to the trial.
Wait a minute now. Let's be clear. You were charged with trespassing. Trespassing, forgive me. But you're supposed to have had a right to go to the jail. And trespassing, was that involved with you trying to visit the jail?
Yes, so I was charged with trespassing and resisting arrest. And why the trespassing really doesn't make sense is that I had the authority to be there based on the ordinance.
Wow. Okay, we'll talk further about it on the other side of the break.
Behind me is the New Life Evangelistic Center administrative offices in Overland, Missouri. And this is where we shoot our shows for our worship shows and the Here's Help Network. And it's also where Zaki Baruti and Bernie Hayes shoot their shows. You can find all of these shows at the New Life Evangelistic Center app, the NLEC TV app. You can also access them on your tablet or on your computer. And this is how you can stay up to date with all the things that New Life Evangelistic Center is doing. There are so many different programs that we've got going on, and God is doing many exciting things through partners like you. So if you want to support the work that New Life is doing, then please access and give through the app. You can go online at nlecstl.org or give us a call at 314-421-3020. Again, 314-421-3020. But this is the best way to get plugged into the amazing work that New Life is doing through people like you. And so there is something for you to get involved in today. And we are so thankful for our partners. Only through the grace of God and your gift are we able to bless others today.
As we feel the darkness pressing in upon us, both personal needs and needs in the world, society as a whole, it's easy for us to get depressed. And when we're depressed and negative and feeling hopeless, we're not going to be able to help anyone. That's why I daily have to draw strength from the Word of God. That's why I have to go on walks in the midst of the wonders of God's works. And that's why I have to be able to see something that's worked for many, many years in my life, is that Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. That He's with us always, even to the end of the world. And that we can be a light, letting His love and power flow in us and through us in a cold, dark world. There are people hurting out there. There's people that are crying out to God at this particular moment in the midst of their desperation. Can we be led by the Holy Spirit to them? Can we believe God to reach out and let His love flow through us and by faith help them meet their needs? That's the challenges that the Lord gives us in His Word. Experience the joy of really helping somebody else and letting the light and love of Christ shine in you and through you.
Welcome back to Conversation with Zaki Baruti. In studio with me is Janis Mensah, who was arrested for doing his civic duty as a member of the St. Louis Jail Oversight Board, right?
Correct.
So explain that interaction that day that happened to you.
Sure. Well, I received an email from our chair at the time, because I was vice chair at the time, Reverend Darrell Gray, that there may or may not have been a new death at the jail. And this is a jail that has become one of the deadliest in America. Over the past 4 years, we've seen 18 deaths, unfortunately.
18 deaths within the St. Louis Jail Center.
Yes,
downtown St.
18
Louis.
deaths,
Wow.
which is really high. At times it got up to 7 times the national average for inmate mortality. So just really, really terrible. But I received an email from Reverend Darrell Gray that there may or may not have been a death. So as soon as I could get off work, I went down to the jail to ask them to confirm if there had been a death, and to ask to see the master controls to kind of see what went on around that time during that day. And it's then that the warden, they said that they would come back to speak to me, tell me whether or not I was going to be able to tour. But unbeknownst to me, the warden was in the back room calling the police. The police showed up, and within 5 minutes, they had knocked me unconscious, and you can see them on the video punching me while I'm unconscious.
Wow. What were their logic for not allowing, and they knew that you were a member of the jail commission. So
Correct.
What logic were they using to say that you was trespassing?
I don't think there is logic to it at all. What I think it is the police trying to avoid liability by trying to paint me as a criminal, and tying me up in court has prevented me from suing the city. So I think that was the real goal of it.
So you're still in the process of dealing with the charges? And what are the charges?
Yes, so the charges are trespassing and resisting arrest, both misdemeanors. And I have been fighting this battle for the last year and a half, and I'm still on trial. The trial will be April 21st at the Carnahan Courthouse at 9 a.m.
Do you know what court division it's supposed to be in?
It's division, I believe, 24, but it's on the 8th floor.
Okay, then. Now, some people may say it's just a misdemeanor, just go away, that's nothing real serious. So why are you still fighting it?
Yes, well, I'm fighting it because I simply believe it was wrong, it was an injustice, and me facing any repercussions from it at all would be an injustice. And there are very serious repercussions. Even though they're misdemeanors, they do have the possibility of jail time. And it has already affected my life. It's affected my housing. You have to say whether or not you've been charged with a crime. Even if I end up being found not guilty, it can affect my employment. I was recently on the job search, and I knew that this kind of thing would show up on a background check. And also, I am looking forward to being a respite care provider for foster children, and having any kind of criminal record is something that affects your application. So it has really affected some of the most important parts of my life.
So in terms of, you made me think, one time there was a uprising inside of the jail too there, right?
Several,
okay. In terms of the internal physical conditions, how would you describe that from your couple visits that you made?
Yes, I would describe them as disgustingly inhumane, really, really egregious. And did y'all make that recommendation to, was there ever a formal recommendation from the commission to the mayor about the conditions itself? So I think really the issue was that they prevented us from gathering any evidence to actually make those conditions. They prevented us from doing any investigations. What we did have to go off was the really reliable reports of conditions by people who had been recently released from the jail, or people who were still inside and talking to us about those jail conditions. And they told us about having 23, 24-hour lockdowns where they weren't released from their cells the entire day, sometimes stretches of days. They weren't able to shower, but once every 2 weeks weren't able to speak to their family. Sometimes there was water shut off, so water deprivation, food deprivation, excessive macing, just about anything you could imagine. So,
and these are people who were incarcerated who had not been found guilty. They were just were there waiting on their trial.
Correct. They're simply waiting for a trial, and often they're waiting in jail because they cannot afford bail.
Okay, then. On that note, we'll have to take our last break.
To hear and experience all the things that individuals are doing on Zaki's program like this is such an encouragement. But it's not something we just want to sit back. We're not just spectators. We're right out there in the middle of it all if we've experienced the power of the resurrection, the reality that Christ is risen. Over 500 people saw him after he rose from the dead. Yes, and it drives us, it motivates us, it encourages us that we're more than conquerors through Christ who strengthens us. We can often see these overwhelming problems. We can see what's going on by President Washington, D.C. We can see the hurt. We can see the pain. We can see the destruction. But we know that Jesus rose from the dead. And because of that reality, you and I can also rise up in the midst of all these needs, and we can make a difference. People end up hungry one at a time. We can feed them one at a time. They end up homeless one at a time. We can help them one at a time. For truly we can be more than conquerors through Christ who strengthens us. That's the good message. That is the good news that is given to each and every one of us, that we have hope. As many as call upon the name of the Lord, they shall be called the children of God. As we believe that Jesus paid for our sins on that cross and he rose from the dead and he's sending us among the hurting and the homeless and the needy, we can make a big difference, encouraging so many that are broken in our community. Let's let the light and love of Christ shine in us and through us at this time. Let's bring hope to the hopeless, help to the helpless, and let's bring God's love to everyone we meet. For truly this can be the greatest day of our life if we'll let his light and love flow in us and through us at this very critical time in the midst of so much need all around us.
Welcome back to Conversation with Zaki Baruti. We want to have a couple more minutes with Janis Mensah, who was a former member of the St. Louis Jail Commission. What lessons would you, first of all, have you been getting support from the broader community around your upcoming trial?
Yes, I've been getting overwhelming support. We started the Justice for Janis Coalition, I would say, less than 6 months ago, and we already have 20 community organizations, labor unions, pro-Palestinian organizations, progressive Jewish organizations. The Eco-Socialist Green Party of Eastern Missouri has been a tremendous help. So there's been a lot of support.
Now, if anybody would like to join that coalition, is there any kind of contact information that you can share?
Absolutely. They can contact us directly on the Contact Us page at justiceforjanis.com. That's justiceforjanis.com. They can sign the petition, and when they provide us with their email, they get updates directly from me about the trial and the case and anything going on. So they can sign the petition there, and if they know of any organizations that want to join the coalition, they can fill out the form online. Okay, then.
And just a minute comment in terms of why should people be concerned with conditions of people who are incarcerated?
I think they should be concerned because these are our neighbors. 750 of our neighbors live at the city jail under these terrible conditions. And the way that St. Louis over-incarcerates, a lot of us are people that may end up in the city jail, or we have loved ones that end up in the city jail. And it's in our own self-interest and also just a moral imperative that we care about our neighbors.
And again, your trial date is when and what time?
April 21st at 9 a.m. at the Carnahan Courthouse. It'll be on the 8th floor, Division 24.
All right, thank you for sharing that information with us.
Thank you.
On that note, as you all know that we have various elections coming up, we always encourage everybody to know the issues and get out and vote, as well as it's imperative that everybody belong to an organization that speaks truth to power and working to uplift humanity. We say join the Universal African Peoples Organization. On that note, may God bless each and every one of you.